Good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. It kind of makes me laugh when you see some football players, or ex-football players, on podcasts saying that they've no idea why Brendan Rodgers took Mark Nawrocki out the team. When Brendan Rodgers has said before that he likes playing trusty because he's a left-sided midfield player. Coming up, by the way, we're going to be talking about a Celtic player that's been offered to Dynamo Kiev, and it's not Greg Taylor, it's a midfielder. But anyway, I was watching the open goal, and an ex-Celtic youth player who is generally on that podcast felt that, there's a lot of fans have been talking about it as well, the fact that Rocky was dropped, Trusty was brought back in. Rocky had done nothing wrong over the last couple of games, but he's not a left-sided player. And when you're playing on the left side of the pitch, Brendan Rodgers likes to have a left footer on that side of the pitch. It's a no-brainer. I don't see where the argument is, to be honest. We all know that, if that was the case, you would have had Liam Scales if he was fit in that position anyway. And I think Liam Scales has proven that he was better than Rocky over the last couple of years. So tell me what you think about it in the comment section. James McFadden has been talking about Sinisalo and said it's been a great piece of business by getting Sinisalo in Celtic. We all know that Sinisalo when he came to Celtic, he was a player that was for the future. He was going to be taken over from Kasper Schmeichel, who's currently out injured, and it looks like he's going to miss the end of the season. He's definitely going to miss the title party whenever that happens, and it may happen at Ibrox. That'd be a laugh, wouldn't it? 2,500 fans sitting in the 80th minute. Hopefully we'll get a win, and if not, they'll get the trophy that we beat Celtic twice a season and managed to get a result. They only turn up for one game a season, to be fair, don't they? They only turn up against the Celtic. It's always the same when a small team plays a big team, though, isn't it? It is always the same when a small team plays the big team. They turn up for it and they have that motivation to try and beat the bigger team. Celtic will be crowned champions. It's just a matter of when. I don't want it to happen if they were to get beat by Aberdeen. I don't want that to happen when we're sitting in the house doing nothing. And Aberdeen maybe beat them. But from Aberdeen's point of view, it'd be even funnier if it was Aberdeen that actually beat Rangers to hand Celtic the title. That would just be hilarious, wouldn't it? And we would have to go live right after that. But anyway, James McFadden, he's been talking up Sinisalo and said it's a great piece of business for Celtic. He says he's getting experience in the games. He's going to get experience in the semi-final, and he might as well be there for the final as well if Celtic do manage to get past St Johnstone. I think when it comes to the Hampden pitch, and I have paid credit to St Johnstone in the way that they played. Will the bigger pitch at Hampden be more suited for Celtic to allow players to sort of get down the wings and maybe play a little bit faster? Or will St Johnstone change their tactics? But anyway, that's a game away, so we don't worry about that just now. Anyway, let's get to what you really want to be talking about. Celtic transfer news. It's coming out of Ukrainian dynamo.kiev.au, Ukrainian online publication. I've said that Dynamo Kiev's been offered. Now, I'm not too sure about the source of this, but we're going to run it because we all know that it's a player that is currently out on loan from Celtic, Louis Palma. Louis Palma is a player that Celtic have said that he's not good enough. He's an enigma. When he turns up for his national team, he is a player that he's absolutely fantastic for his national team. But then when he played for Celtic, he just didn't seem to get it. He was a little bit too greedy and tried to do everything himself, trying to make it as some kind of Honduran superstar, which is in his home nation, but you have to be a bit more of a team player for playing for Celtic. Anyway, they've come out and said that they have been offered Louis Palma. It goes on to say, according to our information, Dynamo was offered the player from Celtic, namely Louis Palma. He's a left-sided winger of the Honduras national team. We will see how Dynamo will look at him this summer, the message says. Palma is currently playing on loan for Olympiacos this season. He was asked about his time at Celtic, and he said that, look, I'm still employed by Celtic. I said I can only talk them up, but now it's all about defending fucking the Greeks. It is all about defending them, and the fact that he's playing for them just now. It's a weird situation with that. We're going to go into the summer transfer window with, I think, no less than about at least 6 players leaving Celtic this summer. Obviously, we know that Greg Taylor's leaving. You've got Lewis Palmer that's leaving. You've got Gustav Lager-Belke, who will be sold. The big question marks for me over Stephen Welsh and his desire to come back to Celtic to sit on the bench. I think once a player does go out on loan, and it's not like that he's a younger player now and he's going out to get some game time and he's going out to get some experience. Stephen Welsh is at the stage of his career where he's like, I've came through the ranks at Celtic. I'm not going to be a first team pick. Do I really want to see it? I've done everything. I've won trebles. I've played in the Champions League. I've done this. As a football player, you want to be playing football. And I think Stephen Welsh will be one of the other players that will definitely be out the door this summer. And Celtic will try their best to keep him, but I think he's going to turn around and say, look, I just want to play full-time football. And that's it, and that's how the conversation will go. But we'll see how that one pans out during the summer. There has been speculation of other players that Celtic have been named with before. It's going to be interesting. I want Celtic to, when they do, and when Brendan Rodgers does get the transfer window open, I want the backroom staff and I want Nicholson and co to act pretty quickly, because we do have a Champions League qualifier this year, and I want to make sure that we go into all guns firing, because I think that we've been, especially last year, I think we all felt a little bit let down at the transfer window in the speed, and especially what happened with Adam Ida. We'll not talk about that. But anyway, that's been done and dusted for the day. We do have a game this weekend. We'll try and talk about it a little bit later on. Tomorrow, what day is it? It's Wednesday today, isn't it? Yeah, it's Wednesday today, and we might talk about it tomorrow night. So, just before we go, it was good to see Kieran Tierney get some game time in the Champions League last night, and I did make a prediction a couple of weeks ago saying that it would be interesting, it would be good for Kieran Tierney if Arsenal, I know that I want Arsenal to win the Champions League. Can they win the Champions League? There's every chance that they may. I think that time they come, if they get Barcelona, I think Barcelona might nick it, because they've got some fantastic players. But it would just be right up the Celtic story, just the exact same way that it happened to Paul Lambert. When nobody really wanted Paul Lambert, different situations obviously, but Paul Lambert went away to Germany, won the Champions League with the Germans, and then came back, and then came to Celtic. And it would just be the icing on the cake for the Kieran Tierney story, for him to have went through everything that he's went through at Arsenal. I mean, we know that he's Celtic through and through. He is one of us. And it would be fantastic for him to come back to Celtic as a Champions League player. Got to say, he done quite well when he came on last night. People talking about his fitness, Celtic fans wise. I don't think there's anything wrong with his fitness, to be fair. I think that he seems to be over the worst of any injuries, and look, injuries happen to any player. We're all looking forward to Kieran Tierney coming back, but will the big question be, will he come back a Champions League winner? Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think that Arsenal could win the Champions League? And people say, fuck Arsenal, we'll talk about Celtic. Anyway, I'm just putting it on a personal note out there. I think that it would be fantastic for the player, especially what he's went through at Arsenal. And then for Celtic to be getting a Champions League player, a Champions League winner for absolutely nada. I had to explain to a couple of guys in the pub last night about the Kieran Tierney backstory, because they didn't know that he was obviously that he was a Celtic player at one point. And then we sold him for 25 million to Arsenal, and then we're going to get him for absolutely nothing. And they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that we were getting Kieran Tierney for nothing, because he looks quite a good player. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.